everyone, this is Nadia from Energy Star Healing here. Thank you for joining me today. This is my first video. Very exciting. Well, my first video that I've actually been in front of the camera. So part of my goal for 2018 was to actually get in front of the camera instead of hiding behind the camera. So I am actually going to be teaching Reiki Level 1 certification February 4th at the Lost Organization. Very excited about it. So this is kind of my first way of just getting out there and just, you know, feeling comfortable with teaching and whatnot, which I absolutely love to do. And I do a lot, even just through Facebook. So what I'm going to talk about today is actually not Reiki related or energy healing related. It's actually going to be tarot card basics, the basics about tarot card readings. I do, since last year and this year, I get a lot of people messaging me, asking me, you know, what deck should I use? What deck do you recommend? Like, how do I do a reading? And how do I cleanse my deck? And etc. Which I love the questions, keep them coming, but sometimes typing on Facebook gets very tiring. So I just figured if I do this video, that way I can get it out there and then you guys can watch it and give you some advice from there. So I do, just mind me if I look down because I do have a couple notes. I want to make sure I cover everything today for you. I am going to split this up into two parts. So I'm going to do this part today about just selecting your deck and how to select your deck, and it'll be about cleansing and storing your deck as well. And then part two I'm going to do tomorrow, which will be about different tarot card spreads and how to do interpretations. Okay, so let's get started. So the very first thing about selecting your tarot card deck is very, very important. You're not just going to select any deck that if you go to a bookstore on the shelf. So I'll give you just a bit of a background on myself. The first time I ever used a tarot card deck, I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And my mom showed me her tarot card deck that she had. I was absolutely fascinated with it. I thought this was the best thing ever. It was amazing. It kind of stemmed my journey of spirituality from then on. My mom was very spiritual, so this is what kind of started my journey. And I just love tarot. And she showed me that, and then it just started from there. So the very first time I ever purchased my very own tarot card deck, I literally just chose it because I loved the artwork, which was great. And I'll even show you. This was the very first one I ever bought. It's Fairy Oracle, Brian Frode. He actually did a lot of the characters for the movie Labyrinth, so it's very fairy goblin related, which I love. I picked it because of the artwork. I could not bond with this deck. It was one of those decks that maybe the energy wasn't there for me. I'm not really sure, but it wasn't one that I bonded with, even though I really admire the artwork. I still have it. I'm hoping I will gift it to my daughter when she's, you know, ready to use her own tarot, so I'm still keeping it. And so that's why I picked that one. That's not always the best reason to choose your tarot card deck for the first reason. It's just because of the artwork. I actually have a couple decks that are not maybe the best artwork that I've seen, but they are amazing decks. You know, the energy is great in them. I feel comfortable interpreting with them. So you're always going to look at something like that, like how you feel when you're holding the deck, which is very important. And another thing people usually ask is the best way to get a tarot card deck is if it's gifted to you, which is yes, but also no. So it is very special if a deck is gifted to you by somebody. It's going to be a wonderful deck. You're probably going to definitely bond with it. There's a reason why it was gifted to you. Some of the most amazing decks I've used are the ones that have been gifted to me. But it's absolutely not true that you can't go buy your own. You can definitely buy your own deck because you're going to know what you're going to like. You're going to know what you want to work with. So I have bought quite a few of my own decks. So the ones that I will show you today is I'm a big fan of Doreen Virtue's tarot card decks. So I'll show you a couple. I do have most of her collection. I love her card deck. So this is her Fairy Oracle one. And she does most amazing artwork, but her interpretations are just beautiful, very easy to follow, very easy to interpret even on your own without even looking at the book. So when you look, you know, the artwork's amazing, but she has little interpretations written on the bottom, which is great, especially if you're a beginner. This is great. So you don't always have to refer to the manual. You can actually just read what's down here. And that way too, if you're going to do any readings for friends or clients or anything like I do, then that way they can actually see what's written on the card. So, and that way you can kind of make your own interpretations from there. So that is one of the decks I have by her. I'll show you the other ones. I do also have her Magical Unicorn Fairy deck, which I love, and the Mermaids and Dolphins, which I also love. So beautiful decks. Doreen Virtue, she's great. She's got many out there. And so one of the ones that were actually gifted to me, which I do also love as well. So this is one of the second decks that I ever bought myself. Oh, actually, no, sorry. It was actually gifted to me. I lied. This one was gifted to me, but I did pick it out for myself. I had never seen the deck. I didn't even know what the artwork looked like. I just saw it online, and then I just felt like a connection with this deck. So this is the Wisdom of Avalon deck, and it's amazing. I love it. Very happy that I have this deck. So that was another one. The other one, my Steampunk Tarot deck. I have a little story that goes with this one. This one actually found its way to me. I think it's definitely, you know, the universe meant for me to have this deck. But how I found it was, so a lot of times people donate things in our building and just leave a box out of things for other people to, if they want. And this one was in a box full of kids' toys. At the very bottom of the box was this deck, brand new, never even opened, never even touched. So I took it. I thought, definitely this has found its way to me. The universe wanted me to have it. Love this deck. It's not, the artwork is beautiful. It's not, I've seen other ones that were probably more fancier, but because this deck was like found its way to me this way, it's very special to me. So I love it. So that is the ones that I have. I also have Zombie Tarot, which is, these are really funny. They're cute, and I love them. I think they're hilarious. So you don't always have to buy decks to be serious. Sometimes you buy them just because you have some humor in it. And so that's selecting your own deck. So if you're going to, say, go to a bookstore or anything and look for a deck, though usually the first thing I do is I look through every single deck that they have just to see what they have out there. And then I kind of make a few selections from there. So then I kind of take, say, a certain deck in my hand, and I kind of just hold it for a second, just kind of feel the energy, feel if it's going to be the right one for me. You know, people at the bookstore are probably going to stare at you, but I really don't care. Let them stare if they'd like. They think I'm weird. That's what I do. And I usually read the back just so I can learn more about the author of it. You know, they do usually have pictures on the back too of what the cards look like. So that's how I select my deck. And I kind of go with my intuition and feeling the energy from there, from the cards. So that's how I do it. And online, obviously, you can still buy your own cards as well. I find it more difficult online because sometimes you get a little swayed by the reviews that people put. So don't look at the reviews, because even if someone says, I did not like this deck, does not mean you're not going to like it. Okay? So that's selecting the deck. The next thing I do want to talk about is cleansing and storing your tarot card deck, which is equally as important. So cleansing, you have to cleanse this deck when you get it home, because you don't know if someone, you know, if the factory was handling it, who was handling it, who had their energy on it. Very important. So when you get your deck, a lot of times in the book, there'll be a little prayer or a chant that you say with the card when you first get it. They'll even give you a little suggestion on how to cleanse it, which is great. You can follow that. But I will show you the ways that I do for cleansing. This is just the way I was taught and the way I learned. So I know there's other people might have other ways that they've done it or other suggestions. So, you know, I'm just going to share with you my ideas and you can kind of take it from there. So the best thing for cleansing the deck is a couple different ways. First is you can use sage or Palo Santo. So sage, you can use the stick or the leaf, and you just light it, not too close to your deck because you don't want to obviously set it on fire or ruin it. So you're just going to use the smoke, and you're going to cleanse your deck, top and bottom, all the way through. In case if you don't like sage, Palo Santo is great for cleansing. This obviously has been well used. Again, you're just going to use the smoke to cleanse all the way around your deck. That's a great way. And the next way could be even by touching each card. So fanning out the card deck and just touching each one, because that way you're touching it and putting your energy onto it. So they're going to be yours. Okay. Now the next way is you take your deck and hold it in the non-dominant hand. So the hand that you do not write with. So in my instance, I hold it in my left. And you're just going to actually knock with your right once, very gently. Knock. The first time I ever did this, my daughter was like, Mommy, why are you punching your tarot card deck? And I had to explain to her exactly why. And after that, she understood, but it was pretty funny. So you're just going to, just a gentle knock on it. And what that knock does, it actually clears the energy on the cards, makes it a clean slate. And then what I like to do is just take the deck in both hands and hold it up to my heart chakra. close my eyes for, a minute maybe, and just sort of get the energy from my heart chakra into the tarot card deck. So that's a good way if you don't want to use, incense or anything that you have to light. I don't suggest using a cleansing spray on your cards. There is like cleansing sprays or room clearing sprays. I don't suggest it because, you don't want to ruin these cards with anything that has water or water based in, or even alcohol based in it. So it could ruin actually the card. Same with essential oils. It could actually ruin the card. So I would stay away from that if you can. Actually, stay away from it at all. I wouldn't use it at all. Use the cleansing spray. So just do, the sage, Palo Santo, or using the knocking. The next way to do it is you can use a singing bowl. So sound is a fantastic way to clear energy in a room or cleanse your deck. So if you have a small singing bowl like this one, you can actually just hold it above the cards and use the sound to do the cleansing. If you have a singing bowl that is bigger one, you can actually set the deck right inside the bowl and then use the sound to clear it. That actually helps as well too. So you can do those ways. And the third way that I also love to do is with crystals. So I like to use clear quartz crystals for my tarot. Clear quartz is great for cleansing out negative energy. So you can actually take the quartz, set it right on top of the deck, cleanse the stone first, obviously, in case you've used it for something else. Set it right on top of the deck and keep it there so it's ready for your next time. You can actually set the deck right inside the box or pouch if you're storing it in a pouch. Keep the crystal right inside there, close the lid so next time you go to use it, it's perfectly cleansed for you. You could also use selenite, which is also one of my other favorite crystals. So this is a selenite wand. This is great for cleansing your aura, but you can also use it to go around and cleanse your deck with it. That way, you can set the selenite, if you have smaller chunks of it, same way, set it right on top of your deck, and then it'll be cleansed for the next time you use it. So those are some ways there that you can do it. Those are my favorite ways and the easiest ways that you can do it. So, the next way, storing your tarot card deck. Another very, very important aspect. So, when you're storing your tarot card deck, you're not just going to buy the deck, use it, and then throw it in some corner somewhere to collect dust. If you're serious about using this for messages from the universe and from spirit, you need to keep it somewhere where it's safe, where it's away from direct sunlight, and away from people touching it. Okay? So you can keep it on a shelf somewhere as long as it's not, on top of 1,000 books, crushing it. You can keep it in a drawer somewhere safe. That's fine as well. I like to keep mine kind of all displayed on my dresser. So that way when I do have clients come over and I do readings, they can see each deck that I have and they can kind of choose their own from there. But that's just my personal preference. So if you want to keep them all displayed out, that's perfectly fine, just away from direct sunlight because it will damage the artwork on the cards. So some people like to store their tarot card decks either in a silk or like a cotton pouch, which you can do. You can keep that in there and it keeps the dust off of it, keeps them dry, keeps them safe. I personally don't use that only because I do have quite a few decks. So it's just my preference. I like to keep the original box and the book and everything together. So that way nothing gets lost and that's just fine. You can still keep it in the box. But like I said, away from direct sunlight. And just keep it somewhere safe because these are going to be yours. These are going to be your special cards that you're going to use for readings for yourself. So you don't want to just throw them somewhere in a corner, for somewhere accidentally your dog eats it or something, it could happen. So yeah, that's the best way to store your cards. And I think, yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. So tomorrow, join me again, and I'm going to talk about different tarot card spreads that you can do for yourself at home. And I'm going to talk about like different interpretations you can do for yourself. Okay? So thank you for joining me today on my first video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions about this, just post them in the comments below and I will answer them. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Namaste.